Good afternoon and welcome to our virtual award presentation. Usually we present these awards on a stage in a room full of people, but we wanted to present the awards live because the work that the recipients have done is so critical to our community and they are so very important to us. I had the distinct honor of being your host, Michael Ratar, the current Vice Chair of Legal Aid and Coast to Coast Legal. I'm so excited to be part of the presentation of the Spirit of Justice Award. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Doug Reynolds, a fellow board member and partner at Tripp Scott, who will present the Spirit of Justice Award to Anthony Adelson.
Thank you, Mike. In 2014, to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Legal Aid and the 10th anniversary of Coast to Coast, the Spirit Award was established to recognize that individual or those individuals who have a special place in their heart and a spirit for the mission and the people that we serve at Legal Aid and Coast to Coast. That award each year has been given, and this year's recipient is a special recipient in as much as he is a former employee at Legal Aid Services. Anthony Adelson in 1994 became a member of the Florida Bar and spent a couple years working at Legal Aid. But that didn't stop his commitment to those that are underserved in our community. Anthony has served those people for the past 26 years faithfully, and has given of himself through Broward's Lawyers Care and has helped in a class action matter involving Hollywood Circle. And individuals in our community that were evicted, he protected their rights. He saw that they were protected. He spent countless years on that project and has worked diligently to provide a better place in our community for our fellow residents. Therefore, it's a special honor for me to recognize the 2020 recipient of the Spirit Award, a worthy individual, a person who's devoted the past 26 years of his life to serving our community, Mr. Anthony Adelson.
Thank you very much. This is a beautiful award. I'm very flattered. Doug, thank you for that introduction. I really am very flattered to be receiving this award. As Doug said, my involvement with Legal Aid goes back to when I was in law school, actually, 1993. I started as an extern in the Consumer Protection Unit. I was a third-year law student looking for an area of law that interested me, and I found that consumer protection was fascinating, but there were not a lot of places where I can get experience doing that. So I ended up researching and found that Legal Aid Service of Broward County had a consumer protection unit. I was very fortunate to get an externship there. And when I started working there, I realized that the unit was very small. It was one attorney, one paralegal, and one secretary. The attorney that I worked under, his office was right next to the office of the director of litigation, who at that time was Sharon Barassa. And I found myself fascinated with the class action cases that Sharon was handling. I realized that if I was helping one person at a time with a predatory mortgage or an improper repossession, Sharon was helping hundreds, possibly even thousands of people at a time by doing impact litigation. The more time that I spent at Legal Aid learning the substantive areas of law and consumer protection and bankruptcy and becoming proficient with civil procedure, the more I got to know Sharon. And that was a wonderful experience because she inspired me to help people and to make that part of my life. My externship ended when I graduated from Nova Southeastern in May of 1994 in the spring. In July, I took the bar exam, and a few weeks later when I got my results, one of the first people that I went to see was Sharon Barassa. I sat in her office surrounded by all these file boxes with the names of class action suits that she'd handled. And she asked me why I wanted to meet with her. So I told her that I'd passed the bar exam and that what I wanted to do more than anything else was to be a consumer protection attorney at Legal Aid Service of Broward County. Of course, the problem was there was no staff attorney position open. But Sharon looked at me and she said, okay, if that's what you want to do, then this is what you need to do. You come to work every day starting on Monday, make yourself part of the consumer unit. You're going to be a volunteer and you're going to do this on faith. But after a few weeks, I'm going to go to Tony Carrat and I'm going to ask him to fund a position for you in that unit. And then she leaned in and gave me this look that was very serious and determined, but she was also smiling somehow. She said, don't worry, I know how to talk to Tony. So I did my part. I showed up every day, took every opportunity I could to litigate consumer related matters. I learned bankruptcy, learned civil procedure, and tried to make myself an indispensable part of that unit. And of course, Sharon kept her word. After about 2 months, Tony called me into his office. He sat me down. He told me that he'd heard of all the work that I was doing in the consumer unit, and he offered me a full-time staff attorney position in that unit. I was overjoyed, and I have Sharon Barassa to thank for my first job in the legal field. And I've always been very grateful to Sharon for that. Several times over the years, she's called me and asked me to take on pro bono cases. I always try to say yes. Back in 2013, she called me, and Doug alluded to this, about a bunch of evictions that they were getting at Legal Aid. And it was tenants from a building on Young Circle in Hollywood. There were 200 working class families that were being evicted. The building was being torn down. She got me into the case. We quickly started defending the evictions. Shortly after that, we filed a class action suit against the city of Hollywood. And working on the case has been a great experience. It's sort of the culmination of all of the things I saw when I worked at Legal Aid, all the things I had aspired to do and had the opportunity now to do with Sharon. In working on the case over the past few years, I felt that I was very fortunate. I got to work closely with Sharon Barassa, Deborah Kaprowski, Brittany Parks, and a few of the other staff. And in the course of working with them, I am even more inspired to keep providing legal services to those who are underrepresented. And even though my tenure at Legal Aid was very brief, the people that I worked with there permanently instilled in me a sense of commitment to serving those who cannot afford legal representation. Now, it's widely known that Tony Carrat is going to be retiring at the end of this year. And Tony's done incredible things with Legal Aid over the past 40 plus years. I think one of the most important things that Tony has done is made it possible for the great men and women who work at Legal Aid and Coast to Coast to provide legal representation to the underserved. Because I was so inspired by Tony, Sharon, Deborah, and all of those that I've worked with, I began taking cases from Broward Lawyers Care as soon as I left the employ of Legal Aid, and I've been taking them on ever since, and I don't plan to stop. Every time I visit the Legal Aid offices, I am impressed when I see the same faces. There are people who are still working there from the time that I worked there. Of all of the employees in Legal Aid and Coast to Coast, 38 of them have been there for at least 8 years. And some of those have been there for over 20 years. These are an incredible treasure. The attorneys, the paralegals, and the staff of Legal Aid and Coast to Coast are the heart and soul of these institutions. These hardworking men and women have devoted years of their lives in service to the concept of equal justice. If I embody the spirit of justice, it's only because Tony Carrat, Sharon Barassa, Deborah Kaprowski, and all the dedicated men and women at Legal Aid and Coast to Coast have inspired me. So I shared my award with all of them. I want to thank everybody at Legal Aid. I want to thank the board. And Michael, thank you again. Back to you.
Thank you and congratulations, Anthony. And thank you to our Facebook Live audience. My work would not be complete without reminding you that you can make a donation to celebrate Anthony's work. Just go to the events page on Facebook or visit our website at browardlegalaid.org. Thank you again for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.